Some times ago, while meditating, I came across Matthew chapter 7, verse 1 to 6. This passage is part of one of Jesus' teaching, his famous Sermon on the Mount. In this section, it focused on the theme of not judging others. I read it using the Good News Bible translation, and everything seems to follow a clear line of thought from verse 1 through verse 5. However, when I got to verse 6, it felt disconnected from the flow of the message. Or was it just the way I see it? Anyway, it encouraged me to dig deeper. Take a look at the verse. Do not judge others, so that God will not judge you. For God will judge you in the same way as you judge others, and He will apply to you the same rules you apply to others. Why then do you look at the speck in your brother's eyes and pay no attention to the log in your own eye? How dare you say to your brother, please let me take that speck out of your eye, when you have a log in your own eye? You hypocrites! First take the log out of your own eye, and then you will be able to see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. Do not give what is holy to the dogs. They will only turn and attack you. Do not throw your pearls in front of pigs. They will only trample them underfoot. That verse stated that people should not give what is holy to the dogs, or they might turn and attack them. It also warned against throwing pearls in front of pigs, as they would trample them underfoot. This sudden shift raised a question in my heart. Was Jesus introducing an entirely new lesson? Or was this still part of the same thread that began from verse 1? When I look at the heading of the Bible section in the Good News translation, I notice that the translator seemed to group verse 6 with the preceding verses, implying a thematic connection. Interestingly, a cross-section pointed me to a similar portion of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount recorded in Luke chapter 6. As we know, both Matthew and Luke were disciples of Jesus who reported this teaching from their own perspective. So in situations where one account appears unclear, the other may offer valuable insight into the overall message. In Luke chapter 6, the context became a bit clearer. Jesus seemed to be speaking about discipleship. First, he taught that people should not judge or condemn others, so they would not be judged or condemned by God. Instead, they were to forgive others so that God would forgive them. He went on to say that those who give to others would receive from God in return a full, generous measure, more than they could hold. The same measure they use for others will be used for them. From this, I understood that rather than pointing accusing fingers at those who have failed or behaved wrongly, we are encouraged to offer helping hand. The Bible seems to be saying that it is better to give grace than to condemn. Following this, Jesus addressed the danger of blind leadership. He pointed out that a disciple could never rise above the level of their teacher. In other words, if a leader is flawed or blind, their followers are likely to suffer the same fate. However, if a leader is loving and caring, that spirit will be passed on to their followers. Jesus emphasized that whenever someone is fully trained, they become like their teacher. This implies that even if a person starts well but follows the wrong mentor, they may eventually go astray. On the other hand, a good mentor will continue to show love and care, helping their disciples grow into maturity. This idea connects well with Jesus' earlier teaching about giving. And in return, again in Luke chapter 6, 41 to 42, where he challenged people to consider why they focus on the speck in their brother's eyes while ignoring the log in their own. He said that only after removing the log from one's own eye would they be able to see clearly enough to help someone else. This takes us back to the foundation of the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapter 5, where Jesus said that those who recognize their spiritual poverty are truly blessed because the kingdom of heaven belongs to them. No matter how far a leader has come in ministry, he must continually acknowledge his own dependence on God. Recognizing his spiritual poverty, he returned to God daily in prayer and Bible study, not as one who has arrived, but as one in constant need of grace. This personal altar of devotion becomes the place where he is refreshed, and from there he becomes a channel of grace to those he leads.